First things first, can everybody see me over the stand? I'm rather short. Okay, so as you mentioned, thank you very much. My name's Lort and I'm a freelance creative producer. I'm actually standing on my tiptoes right now, but I might continue to keep myself steady. So I actually have a lot of history with the areas you've been talking about today. I'm a Wiltshire lass. I came back to the area because of Wiltshire and because of Wiltshire Youth Arts Partnership. And I studied in Bath in the 90s. I did A-level dance in the Gainsborough building before it got knocked down and got put into a posh hotel. And then I came back to live here in the early 2000s. And I've been kind of living here ever since, and I've recently dipped my toes in Dorset as well. And I just want to say how happy and humble I feel to actually still be living and working in the communities that I'm living in. I think it's quite a humble place to be able to come back as a graduate and find work and seek work and build yourself up. So I'm really humble about that. And I'd just like to say thank you to Theatre Bath and all of that team for inviting me here today to give you a snapshot of Bath dance, and to the theatre community for welcoming me here as well, to get my head above the dance parapet. It's really nice to be here. Like Theatre Bath, we're also on the second incarnation of Bath dance. Up until, I think, between 2006 and 2008, Bath Dance did exist, and it was linked into the council, and it was run by a wonderful man called Tiago Gambogi. Absolutely wonderful man. And due to some funding, it again sizzled out, and there's a few years of gaps for Bath Dance. However, Bath Dance was reborn back in 2011, so about 4 years ago. We're hosted at ICA University of Bath. And we're funded mainly by Arts Council England, a little bit of Baines Council funding, a lot of partnership project support. We're also funded by a lot of love and a lot of support. So that's great too. And our core aim is to support the development of dance in Bath and North East Somerset. When I was speaking back to myself about this last night, when I was kind of creating this presentation, it felt like a little bit of a voiceover in a film. Supporting dance development in Bath and North East Somerset. And I went, holy crap, is that me? Is that really me? I'm a 4-day-week creative producer. Ah! But actually, really luckily enough for us, Baines has, and I say Baines because I'm not just about Bath, I'm about Bath and North East Somerset. Baines has a rich tapestry of dance. It has dance schools, classes, projects, practitioners, educational routes, all who cover a large range of dance styles, all who make dance happen right here in Baines. It's not just about Bath dance, we're part of a community. You have the Jane Austen dancers, the Baines Youth Dance Company, you have Bath Dance College, the Somerset Morris dancers, you have Third Stage Dance Company, who Dan's part of, or has been part of, right through to Make a Move charity, who work with health and well-being in dance, from Bath Spa Live and To The Egg, all who programme dance and who make dance happen on the ground. So for Bath Dance, the dance development that we focus on comes in a balance of two parts. Firstly, it's about promoting and supporting, and where the need is, nurturing what already exists in our dance community, in our dance ecology. And then secondly, it's about producing projects that bridge gaps. Do you like that, Luke? I got it in there. Yeah. That bridge gaps or enriches our local dance offer. So I've taken a kind of a short visual snapshot of some of the things we've done over the last 4 years, and it's just some of the things, and I'm hoping that it's going to work because technology normally defeats me. And it has defeated me. Oh, no, not almost. There we go. So in these images, what have you just seen? Can anybody just tell me, what have you just seen in those images? Feel free to shout it into space.
Elation.
Elation, thank you.
Energy.
Energy, thank you.
Fun.
Fun, thanks.
Participation.
Participation, thank you.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity, thank you.
Imagination.
Imagination, creativity, humanism, just what Penny was talking about.
Depth.
Depth. Why depth?
Just some of the expressions on people's faces that they're going into themselves.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. A quote later on is going to really resonate with that. Just hold that for you. Anybody else?
People being stretched.
Yeah, people being stretched, being challenged. Do you mean like being challenged? Or...
I don't know, but when everyone say dance, so when your man to her from the session, suddenly everybody stretches out here, so you hope metaphorically,
yeah.
as well as the physical thing of dance, people are being stretched and challenged.
Great, thank you. And I don't think that the things we've been talking about doesn't lie and relate purely to dance. It relates to all of the art forms that we've been talking about today. So in there, just as you were saying, there's participation, there's observation, there's emotion. Penny was talking about being human, linking to creativity, linking to imagination. There are young people, there are middle-aged people, there are older people, there were all sorts of people doing and considering dance. So we want to make dance accessible. We want people to be able to discover dance on their doorstep as participants, makers and audiences. We also need the support of the workforce. We need to be able to continue to develop the talent to make these kind of things happen. And looking at my aspiration within Bath Dance in more depth, I'm just going to go through our core 4 aims. And I'm sorry if that sounds really corporate, talking about aims, but I think it's the best word to wrap it up with. You might recognise this gentleman in the picture, actually. This is taken part as part of Dancescapes 2013. So we don't pretend to know everything. We want to be a conduit for joining the dots. I kind of think of myself as a bit of blue tack, kind of stretching out and connecting all of the dots and all the people within the dance community. So one of the core aims for us is about raising the visibility and connectivity of dance in Baines. It's about finding channels to promote the current dance offer. So whether that's through bi-monthly newsletters, through our seasonal dance diary of local performances, or just developing our new dance website, which will be up and running, hopefully, in the new year. That will be about promoting and advocating for dance in Baines. It's about signposting and advice for the public. So a little bit like Luke was talking earlier on, we have parents coming to us trying to find classes for their children. It's to the local school teacher who's trying to find an artist to work with their pupils. We also have bi-monthly creative cuppers. You might have found in some of those images a cup with creative cuppers above. We try and find creative and networking points for people within the dance communities to come together and join together in an informal setting, such as a cafe. So society cafe has actually been our main point of call in the past. But also not forgetting we have 2 universities on our doorsteps and a lot of students that can take up the cultural offer and actually want to get engaged in the cultural offer. And so at the moment we're presenting lectures with Thursday students about how they find their feet as a graduate, specifically if they're staying in the area, but also about work experience for those students. Another thing that we do is about all what I've already mentioned, which is about valuing and supporting what already exists. As Luke and as many of us in this room has, is we have, and I'm doing this because we actually have an open door policy. We are open to everyone interested in making dance happen here in Baines. We don't want to be a parent, but we want to be a partner with those who are already delivering. So how can we do this? We support this through bespoke advice, fundraising support, CPD bursaries, masterclasses that actually feed practitioners, signposting and knocking on doors and letting people know who's here. We have platforms to celebrate emerging work in front of live audiences. So we're working with Bath University with our graduate platform called Pilot, which is about providing opportunities for dance graduates within the last 5 years within the South West to present live work in front of an audience. We're also working with Theatre Bristol, so we talk about bridging the gap and working across areas. We're also working with Theatre Bristol on their testing ground, which is for more emerging artists for dance. And also, another platform that we're working with is Cambridge Music Festival. So we have the Love Dance stage there, which was actually an accumulation and a celebration of local dance groups and artists from across the area, about 100 of them, who all visited Cambridge Music Festival for a whole day, presented what they were doing and showcased what they were doing to the public who were there. We want to enrich the offer, so part of that is about co-programming. with other venues and artists is about pulling our resources together to bring exciting dance work here. And usually that's about public spaces or creating meaningful participatory experiences. So who you're seeing here is Protein Dance, and they're at the top of Southgate Street near M&S. You've obviously been there if we're around from Baines. That involved a cast of 6 professional dancers, 4 graduate dancers, 3 local musicians, and over a period of 10 days, the invisible became visible. So they worked from the bottom where McDonald's is in Southgate Street all the way to the top to McDonald's. And I'm looking at Andy because you were there quite a lot, weren't you? Yeah. And they were everyday characters that you might find on the street. And they'd interweave with the public and they'd become more and more visible as they went up the street. And you'd suddenly realise that people in the public started clocking onto this. You know, there might be somebody doing some stretches and lunges next to them, and they suddenly realise this isn't a regular jogger in Bath. This is actually somebody who's about to perform. And they interacted with the local shops, and they interacted with the local performers. And Dan, you were part of that project with Luca Silvestrini, but in a different area. So that was a great way of bringing dance into the public realm and kind of bringing it in an almost secretive, you're actually watching dance, but you don't actually realise it kind of way. We're also about seeking opportunities and bridging the gaps. And one of the projects we're doing at the moment that I'm super excited about is with a group of 20 inspirational older dancers. So does anybody know the Mendit Dance Club? Okay. They're a group of older dancers who do all sorts of things from jazz to contemporary to ballet, etc., etc., etc. And last year there was a call out from Sadler's Wells for dance groups to be part of this Elixir Festival, which is a performance for older dancers. And half of the group went, we want to do that, and the other half of it went, well, we don't, actually. So these ladies from Mended Dance Club came and talked to me, and we sat in the corner of Society Cafe. This is not a marketing tool, by the way, for Society Cafe. It just happens to be my second office. We all sat in the corner of it and said, well, what could this be? If we had a company of over 60s, what could it look like? Where on earth would we perform? You know, who would want us? And we'd realised that actually this was above us. This wasn't about Bath Dance. It wasn't about them. It was actually about other people. So we had an open day in May that anybody in Baines and beyond actually could have attended. And we had a really strong attendance. And we talked about what this group could look like when they would meet, who it would be run by. And actually, back in September, we had our first session with 20 inspirational dancers who want to reclaim the word old. And they want to ignite the message that age brings wisdom, experience, and empathy. A passion for dance does not diminish with age. And I am so proud of this process because it's not a Bath Dance project. What we've done is put some seed funding in. I'm administratively kind of holding the fort a little bit, but actually the direction of that project and where that is going is up to them. So it's I'm really proud of that project. So that's just some examples of how we can enrich the offer. That's Hanley Bendel on top of the Bath Spa. Another role we can play is about advocacy and being a voice for dance in Baines. So there is only me. I say a lot of we in this presentation, but I actually mean I. I'm a 4-day-week creative producer. I'm sure we all have the buy one, get one free syndrome going on at points, which is what kind of the big phrase I'm using at the moment. So there is only me, but I do try and get out and about as much as I can. I meet with local and regional people and organisations. I'm a member of the Regional Dance Network, Pavilion Dance Southwest, and Sub-Regional Network, Northern Arc. I try and bring back whatever information I can and try and disseminate it through our newsletters and through our websites and through our social media into the local dance community, but that also works in reverse. I can also bring the information and the news and the things that are happening in Baines out into the region and out there nationally. So that's quite exciting for me. So that's kind of a snapshot of what we've been doing over the last 4 years, and I realise it feels really broad, and I am one person, but I don't do it alone. I do it with the dance community, and actually, I think maybe some recognition, maybe with Tracy and with Luke, you know, we've been around for 4 years, not 40. We're still evolving, we're still learning, we're still trying to survive. Especially, Arts Council funding, which is great to have and very beneficial, but it does mean that you're trying to build and evolve a model that could stay stagnant if it doesn't get the next round. So anyway, so that's what we've been doing. But to give a snapshot of future for the arts in Bath, I've got 3 core things to say really for the future of arts in Bath. And I think they've been reiterated throughout this day. I think it's just the same message you've been hearing, which is actually music to my ears. And when Luke said to me, so you need to talk about the future of arts in Bath, I went, oh my God, I almost felt like I could stay up all night, thinking about it and going, oh my God, kind of think I know what it means in terms of dance, but do I actually? This is bigger than me. This is bigger than the organisations. This is bigger than the artists. This is bigger than the festivals. This is a debate and a discussion that we all need to have together. And I think we kind of have most probably been having it for decades, but possibly need to reignite it. And today maybe is the beginning of that. So I didn't feel like I had any answers. I don't have any answers to that. However, what I do have is a few thoughts and questions that Luke's request provoked in me. Penny said earlier on, it doesn't have to be just about art. Everyone can be creative. Where's Penny?
Yeah.
Spot on. Absolutely.
Sure, it wasn't just me that said it.
Everybody. But how do we keep that balance? Firstly, of being able to take risk in programming art and enabling artists to take risks so they create new and boundary-breaking art. How do we keep the balance of that alive and fresh? Versus, secondly, finding meaningful ways to present art/dance and support people to engage in the arts as makers, participants, audience members. So that's about quality of experience, but it's also about that whole number, target, tick box. So I believe in both. And can we believe in a world that can have both, that can exist alongside each other? Should we not be trying to pit one against the other? No. So I believe that both of these have very much relevance in our arts world. It's just about how we sustain and balance it without hitting our pure fundamentals or the ethos of what we do, without just trying to tick a box, but actually genuinely do it because it sits within our ethos. I'm getting a bit dreamy here with my language, stay with me. And something again, we need to continue to invest in bringing arts to grassroots, especially to young people. I always love moving, my story, I always love moving. I never walked from A to B, I skipped. I never sat in front of the TV, I let back with my legs in the air. It was a part of me, in fact, still part of all of us as humans. We all dance in our own way, we all, in whatever way that might be. But for me, I didn't find dance, I was not placed in a dance class. I knew I loved moving, but I didn't know until my PE teacher, Miss Murphy, came in and went, hey, you're a bit all right at this, perhaps you want to go and do GCSE dance? And I suddenly found it, and I had this feeling that I had it, this bottom quote is, I suppose it's like forgetting, losing who you are, and at the same time, someone makes you whole, something makes you whole. And that's what it made me feel. That's why we're all here today, is because there's something in our art forms, or something that might grasp us in an art form, and made us want to be here, and actually be really impassioned and enthusiastic about our art form. So we are developing the cultural offer now. We are the generations, the future generations. But these children and young people, where we find in youth centres and in schools, they are the leaders of the future. They are growing up in a world that is fast-paced and is going to be so much more full of technology than we can ever imagine. In places like schools, we have future choreographers, we have future musicians, future producers, future Lukes, future Pennies, future Alisons. But in order for us to maintain this engagement at that level in schools and within youth centres, and to make it meaningful, we need to have resource. A one-off workshop isn't going to cut the biscuit. That takes time and it takes investment, and I'm sure it's stuff that we're all already doing already. And then last but not least, without collaboration, Bath Dance, we can do half of what we do. We are here because we work in partnership, and I always say, and also because I have other heads to bounce off, and I always say that actually, if it wasn't for the people that I work with, or the partners that I work with, I most probably would have ended up a shriveled old installation in the corner of the office somewhere, because I would have shriveled up. We absolutely need partnership working, especially in what we have in these moments of times which are transitioning. I feel there's a real transition going on, and collaboration for me feels even more important. I know most of us do this, but we need to continue to do this, to continue to believe in what we're doing, whether as a collective of artists, or artists and festivals, or festivals and organisations, or organisations and artists. We make up the cultural offer. We are the sector. No matter where we sit or who we work with, we make up that cultural sector. It's up to us to be able to develop it for the next generation. We need to have open arms. I do this action again. Can everybody just do this for me? How does it make you feel when you do this? Does it make you want to turn to the person next to you and give them a big hug? How does it feel to free the space up? I'm a dancer, I can't help it. We need open arms to be a healthy ecology. We need to look after one another. We need to look after ourselves. So a good colleague of mine forever says this at every single meeting, it's about co-petition, not competition. Let's celebrate our successes, but let's also share our challenges and the things that make us sit at home at 12 o'clock at night when we're writing that funding bid or we're thinking about our next project going, why am I doing this? I really feel like I've failed. I feel really crap about that project. But why? Let's share our challenges as well as the successes. And I know that today I've come along and presented this beautiful presentation, and it looks like I'm a swan gliding along the river, but actually my feet are kind of going 10 to the dozen underneath. So maybe that's a lesson I could teach myself. But we don't go to collaborate or to do partnerships for a tick box notion. Let's not do that. It's not a tick box exercise, but because of genuine synergy or because of a joint aspiration. I know I'm teaching you suck eggs. I know you know this already, but I just want to refresh our minds. Let's not do it for a tick box exercise, but because of a genuine synergy or a joint aspiration, and for the greater good of arts and our community. Any questions? Is my email address.